There are some situations where the magical content-aware fill won't do the job. If I want to put a stone in this empty spot in the pavement, if I choose Edit Fill Content Aware, it does a pretty outstanding job for what it has to work with. But if I hit Command D or Control D to deselect, and I zoom in with Command plus or Control plus, I see hard edges. We can do better. So I'm going to choose Edit Step Backward until it's completely gone, and hit Command D or Control D to deselect. And I think I'll use this stone to replace the empty spot. I'll click on the Clone Stamp tool or hit the letter S for Stamp, and I want to make my brush about as big as this corner. So I'll increase my brush size to around 100. It doesn't have to be exactly that. And often as I dial it up, I'm just estimating based on the size of this corner. I'll click away in the safety area so I don't mark the image. And the hardest part about teaching the Clone Stamp tool to people is getting them to do what I call watching two birdies at once. I want to start at a corner, a very clear or defined or high contrast edge, so I can line up the replacement part very well. And here's what I mean. I hold down Option or Alt, and my cursor changes to a target. With Option or Alt down, I click once and let go of both. When you let go of both, Photoshop gives you a beautiful preview of that corner that I've just chosen to copy. Now here come the two birdies. As I click, most people's eyes are drawn directly to the area they're painting over. And this image is particularly hard because it's gray on gray. So my little plus, which is the area I'm copying, is in the original stone that I Option or Alt clicked on, but I may not see it yet. In fact, I encourage people often to let go so that they have undos. Right here in the lighter part of the stone where there's some dirt over top of it, you could see the plus sign just barely as I move up and down. When I get closer to the top of the stone, or even cross a little bit outside, there, as I move along the top edge, you could clearly see the plus. That's your second birdie. Most people watch in Photoshop just the area they're working on, but it's important to keep in mind the area you're cloning from. So as I paint, I make sure I don't go too far, and I encourage letting go so you have multiple undos. If you don't let go often enough, you may mess up at the very last moment, and then you've wasted all of that work. I'll wheel up a little bit, and there's a cigarette in this photo, which is distracting. So again, I'll hold down Option or Alt, and I'll clone from above the cigarette butt, click once, let go, and this time I'm going to hit the left bracket key on my keyboard a few times. Left bracket is directly next to the letter P, and that makes my brush size smaller. So just to be safe, I'll Option or Alt click once again, let go, move down, and as I click and hold, above is the plus sign where I'm copying from, and I'll let go. And this is fixed. You would never know that stone wasn't there. In fact, when I fit in window with Command 0, Control 0, I thought for a second this was the one I added, but it wasn't. The one I added was the one below, and I can use history to see before, well, if I fit in window, and after. And I did do some image size adjustments, so before and after. There we have the difference. Let's take a look at this on a separate image, a really neat special effect. I have a friend who's taking a class on Photoshop at a local college, and one of her assignments was to make herself twins. So let's show you how that's done. I'll zoom down with Command minus or Control minus. I hit the letter C to go to my crop tool, and most people assume crop only takes away. The crop tool can also be used to add canvas size if I stretch outside. And I'm looking at the rich cursors, and I'm shooting for roughly 16 inches. I'll press Return or Enter to accept the crop, and now I'll hit S for my stamp tool, And I'm going to use my right bracket key to make the brush size about as big as her hand. In fact, you'll see the stone from the previous image is still loaded in the clone stamp tool. I'm going to bring up Window and Clone Source. And the Clone Source panel has 5 different options for spots in the image to mark. We're only going to use one, but I'm going to use a feature added in PhotoshopCS6, Flip Horizontal. When I click that, now I can hold down Option or Alt, click once on the hand, and move directly to the right to make it look as if they're touching. Then click and drag, and there you can very clearly see the 2 birdies I was referring to. I'm at the black top she's wearing. I'll move down a little bit. It's okay to let go, and you'll notice that I didn't quite keep my mouse perfectly straight because there's a little gap here, but that's okay. With the leaning in or out, there might be some natural height differences, so I'll just crop it away when I'm finished. Or I could clone a little bit of the bottom. There we go. Seamless, very cool special effect. It's okay to let go because the crop tool is set to aligned, and even if you let go, it always remembers the original spot that you Alt-clicked or Option-clicked. And I'll paint until I have the full image repeated. This could be done with layers, and it could be done with blending, but it's an excellent way to illustrate the Flip Horizontal feature of the Clone Stamp tool. In fact, if I just wanted to make up a little bit of the bottom portion here without cropping that part away, I'll zoom in with Command plus or Control plus, and I'll make my brush size smaller using my left bracket key, and I'll come just slightly above the white gap. I'll hold down Option or Alt and click once, let go of both, move down and click once, and here's a power user trick. If I move to the opposite side, not holding down any keys, then hold down Shift and click once, it connects the dots. It's really a wild effect. In this case, it wasn't the desired result, so I'll try it one more time. Option click to mark my start point, let go, click again, and if you were to just simply click and drag, it didn't do what I wanted because I left Flip Horizontal on. So I'll undo. I'll come back to Clone Source, turn off Flip Horizontal, and now try that power user technique. Option click once above, let go, click once directly below, hold down Shift, and click again. A perfect, seamless correction. And you can keep doing that. Option click above, click below, Shift click. It will always connect the dots. That click-shift-click trick even works with the paintbrush tool, the dodge tool, the burn tool, anything that uses a brush it works with. So I'll finish this off by cropping away the extra white portion that I don't need, and I'll make it a little bit more balanced, kind of lining up the rule of third guides. And I'll press Return or Enter to accept the final result, and a very cool, interesting special effect added by the Clone Stamp tool. So give this technique a try on an image of yourself and make yourself twins. And work with the hole in the sidewalk image to see how well you can do adding a new stone.